Andor. Welcome, humans on all the spectrums. Today we are here with our non-readers G-Mama and Lady Catherine to discuss Episode 7 of Amazon's Wheel of Time.
You are the voice of the masses, ladies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in the very, very beginning of the show, when Moiraine and the HBIC were talking, when they were dating.
Before she was the HBIC.
Yeah, when they were dating like 20 years ago.
20 years ago. It opened with 20 years ago. I'm all, yes! We're going to find out what happened 20 years ago and what changed Moiraine.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking, and they're talking about, living where they want to live together and all that kind of stuff. But they mention the daughter of the king of Andor. They mention being, giving her advice and this and that kind of, oh, we're not going to be doing much. We're just going to be doing this. They mention the daughter of the king of Andor. Is that the redheaded chick who's now?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yep. So she's got to be over 20.
Or about, right? If she was just born, right? I think that was, I think. That was my kind of thinking is...
All right, very astute, very astute.
I thought 20 years ago.
Well, right, the same, because essentially Rand was just born and at that moment as well, right. So...
So yeah, and in their dialogue, at first she's like, you'll be my fish wife, and then towards the end, Maureen's like, you'll be mine.
Call back to Top Gun when he's like, you can be my wingman anytime. He said, bullshit, you can be mine.
Well, I mean, at the end of the what did you think of that?
The fish wife part?
Well, the whole interaction. Did you like it?
I'm all fish wife itself.
I thought they were so cute together.
They were super cute. I loved seeing them in their relationship, right? And very light and happy, right? The war had just ended. Moiraine wanted to bring her home to meet her parents. It was just all love, all light, and right. So Alana had said that she changed 20 years ago. Something happened. So we got a glimpse of her pre this burden that she's then been carrying, and they did a great job of showing her very light and freaking costumes. Can we just talk beginning to end? The
everywhere
are bitchin', and I love how you see Moiraine, who's this kind of prima donna from wherever she's from and where she grew up, and then Swan's very more
earthy,
more kind of tribal, along with the tattoos. I loved it.
Well, she called her lady whatever her last name was,
Dromeded or Dromedrit, whatever.
That's an amazing conversation. If I think about how we met young Swan, that shack and all the color combinations were literally in the dress she's wearing, like when she's facing Moiraine. That's amazing. I never thought about that.
Yeah, they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
One thing that's super interesting too is, so I noticed that we've learned that they don't age, or they age very slowly, and so I'm like, okay, I'm taking it more as they age very slowly. Swan. So they made them look they were lighter, but they did look younger, right? From their hair to their clothing style. Moiraine has aged a little bit in these 20 years. Not a ton. Swan has aged a lot. She looked quite young, and now, and maybe that's what comes with being a leader. The
Amyrlin, like Obama went gray. They all go gray.
Obama age, being the president. But
Biden went from walking to barely able to walk.
Heavy is the crown. Yeah, the power of the crown. The weight.
Yeah, but I figured that was intentional, but I thought it was interesting because Swan looked very young, and then in the same amount of time has aged a lot, and they're supposedly not supposed to.
We do see a foretelling, or she says, "Is this a foretelling?" And she's like, "It's happening now." Where it was pretty much superimposing back and forth between Rand's birth and the woman Guittara. She teaches things. She calls it guitar lessons.
They couldn't heal cataracts with all their powers.
Well, I know. I was like, when they first showed her, I'm like, okay, are her eyes just clouded like that because she's having a vision?
Because she's a White Walker?
Or is she always like that, and so it was normal. And then she started having the vision, but her having a vision seemed quite normal, right? Because like you said, she's like, "Oh, are you having a foretelling?" So she's apparently done that before. I don't.
She's like, bitch, it's a now telling.
Yeah.
Here's a quick little bit of trivia. Guitarra was played by Haley Mills, who was the original Parent Trap girl. Yes, that was Haley Mills.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Wait, what?
Whoa,
Haley
whoa.
Mills, the original Parent Trap girl, and then they did a remake with
Yeah.
Oh no! I gotta rewatch it just to see that.
That was Haley Mills.
That is really funny.
So cool.
Did she have milky blue eyes even way back then?
Yeah.
No, they changed. They're much more milky.
Her and her fake twin.
Grace, is that what eyes like a sea after a storm look like?
Those are eyes during the storm. So same
Okay.
telling. It wasn't a foretelling, it was a now telling.
Yeah.
It was a now storm.
Now telling. And it was so strong that it happened to kill her, you know?
Yeah, pretty big. But not before she said, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
It's just up to you. Like, figure it out. Get the tower ready. Find him and get the tower ready. Those were two things that she said to do. And then die.
Yeah, and her foretelling was like in 4K.
But it also seemed like she was in the middle of a sentence when she died. It goes to protect this world instead of like, they're to follow what him. It says to follow what him to protect this world. I mean, it looked like she was continuing to talk when she died, and like there was more to the, I don't want to say request or order or something.
Don't we all, Lady Catherine? Don't we all?
I just really do keep talking, so no.
I know, yeah. I don't think death's going to stop you from talking, Lady Catherine.
We will all die mid-sentence.
Yeah.
Blame.
Yeah.
So we
my
know
last my last sentence is going to be, I need it mushy. I need it mushier.
Well, think it's your
Not mechanical soft. Mush. Go.
Yep.
So we know the burden now that Moiraine's been carrying. I don't know why. Well, I guess why she kept it only to them. I mean, didn't even want them to tell the Amyrlin. It was only up to the two of them. I guess because they were concerned that the Reds were going to kill him, or apparently, the tower. We learned what the tower is going to do with him.
How did she become HBIC and then ignore what she had been asked to do? Her goal, when she sees her girlfriend just live her whole life for this one goal, and she goes, now I'm in charge, we'll just do it by the book instead of what I'm supposed to do.
Well, but she and she didn't for the last 20 years hold up her side of the bargain, right? So she said, you've been doing it, and she kind of said, I haven't, but then I agree, kind of switched, and she's like, all right, I gave you 6 months, you didn't do anything with them, now we're gonna go by the book. So yeah, I had a whole lot of questions about, has she, obviously their relationship and how she handled things. I mean, she imprisoned Moiraine. There was a lot happening there, so I was wondering if she has gone to the dark, or if somebody else is convincing her to do otherwise, other than what she had agreed to do 20 years ago, and than what she and Moiraine have been working on.
She referenced Tower Law. She said Tower Law has stood for 3,000 years.
Yeah, she went by the book instead.
But not for. I mean.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But again, the woman who died said, do these two things. Tower Law then would have been like, let's go tell the Amyrlin that apparently the Dragon Reborn is born.
Absolutely.
And when we find him, we got to follow Tower Law. She didn't follow Tower Law for like 20 years.
Well, but let me play advocate though. Here. Let me kind of pull a devil's advocate here. She found Moiraine. Moiraine has been stilled. She has the Dragon Reborn with him, more or less. Unfettered, yeah. And the whole thing is, she's saying, wait a minute, we were supposed to get him ready. He's not ready for anything. You are still, you can't do anything. We had hubris in thinking that we should have kept this to ourselves when, the tower knows, man. The tower's had to deal with dragons in the past, and this is how we should have. We were dumb not to have done this in the first. Was she correct in thinking that?
Well, that's a leap there of you saying that she did that because we were dumb to have not done this in the first place. Maybe she thought that, or maybe she was doing it for another reason. She seemed. Oh, go ahead, Lady Catherine.
Sorry. I think that she was in the very beginning, before she was the bench warmer. She was following what Grey-Eyed said. But when she became the HBIC, she said she did not prepare the tower at all. So she hadn't been like, oh, it's all prepared, but you haven't gotten him under control. She didn't do anything.
She didn't even start.
Oh. She became the Amyrlin.
That's what she's saying.
So I mean, she kind of was in charge. I mean, her being Amyrlin, she's just like, yeah, I'm ready for him. You get him all ready, but I do have the tower somewhat involved because she is the head lady in charge.
So that means the tower is ready since she.
I don't know, what's your point?
Yeah, I don't think the tower was ready because she was sending Reds out to find guys who channeled, and they were stilling them everywhere. And if the Red had happened to find him beforehand,
right?
It wasn't.
Yeah, season one.
And they said that.
Done.
Maureen said that, and she's like, "You have enemies in the tower,
right?
So you can't even just say that you're like that. Like even to think that the tower is ready because she's in charge, and so then that means it's ready, right? She's got enemies in the tower. So she also seemed, and maybe it is because she was worried that the dragon is kind of out untethered. She seemed really bothered that Moiraine wasn't honest with her about being still. And so, and again, maybe she was bothered because of the danger it was putting the world in, but I got the feeling that she was bothered,
like interpersonally,
personally, right?
Do you think that influenced her decisions?
It seemed like it, right? There was this break in trust, and from their first interaction, it was not good, right? Moiraine was upset that Lan went. I mean, it just obviously it was the beginning. The end.
So yeah, let's talk about that. Lan is the reason why she was even there talking to Rand and talking to Moiraine. Like,
so I wrote a lot on Lan. He was integral in a lot of things in this, right? Both good and bad. He even kind of said, like, I've done my duty, but he had these realizations. One, that Moiraine can't do this on her own. She shouldn't do it on her own. She has to trust other people. So he to kind of gain her trust or get her to trust others, he actually broke her trust. Right? By telling people and bringing people in.
Do you think he broke her trust? Because he was going to be killed if he didn't say anything. They were like, what? They were pulling their knives like, you know what? There's something going on. You need to tell us. And
hey, Lan would have lived.
Yeah. I mean, he was going to find the Amyrlin without that. So he was going to go and tell the Amyrlin anyway. They found him, so he ended up telling Alana and the boys.
But
the Amyrlin, thank you for the name. The Amyrlin did not she showed up with 14 people to still him. They did not come in there to see what was going on and how's he going. She went in there to show force that they were going to keep him captive. And
cage him. I was just going to say, not to still him, to cage him.
And use him as a weapon,
Right, and then you want to cage someone and keep them in your dungeon as they're doing to Egwene, and then have them fight for you.
It was exactly what they're doing with Egwene,
which was gnarly. So.
Yeah.
The parallel. Yeah. How can you expect someone to be on your side?
Right. Or left.
And right, that's tower law. That was the tower law is to have for this control factor. So
I think it's just fear.
It's kind of bullshit.
Right. They aren't any different than the other ones then.
No.
Yeah, it's like mandatory minimum.
3 strikes and you're out.
Right, yeah, like she's like, sorry.
Going back to Lan too, right? So he broke her trust, but he was also figuring things out, right? So he asked her if she ever wanted to kill herself. She's like, God, no. So he was putting all these things together. He's like, there's something else happening here. She's not stilled, and he figured out what her deal was, and ultimately got her one power.
The priority with Lan, though, is he got his buns back. I'm sorry. Look at him again and not be, irritated. So that
I know.
started right there. He became so much better with his buns
Makes
back.
me very happy. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about his interaction with Logain. He had this key. He's like, hey, what do you see around her? He's like, I ain't gonna help you, silly fool. And he tells him that it's thousands of white strands around her, which we see is not necessarily the truth, unless he was just interpreting it different. I don't know if
It was
he
like a
was
little
describing
ball,
necessarily
right?
what we
by
saw.
her chest. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the knot was where it had to be released. So I don't think we needed to see the rest. It was the knot that was a priority.
So the Dan, you just
Over
got
her
it.
heart that was keeping the power. So if we had seen all of this, we may not have seen the knot so bright. So
Yep,
that's
you're
why I
right.
think we only saw the knot.
Okay.
I
But he ends up being like, oh, you want this key? Psych. I'd never give you the key. Fuck
I'm
you.
not giving you the key. You killed my friends.
yeah, seriously. I saw what you did.
Yeah.
But was that just-
We've already talked that everybody manipulates to get what they want, right? We saw that in spades last episode, and then in this one too. And so Land fully manipulated him.
Yeah. Even land buds.
Nope, no key.
Well, let me ask you: would he have?
Key,
Was that
no key?
Was that because? Noki is so
Noki
good.
with pesto.
Noki with pesto, yes. Would he have given him the key if Alana and Maxim hadn't just walked in?
No, he
Okay.
had no intention. He was using them.
Okay.
I don't even know if that key was to the door. That could have been a key to
I
a
don't know what the
bathroom.
key to his diary.
Yeah.
It was attached to a big chain that he had to return to the gas station.
All right. So yeah. Speaking of,
Yeah.
so we have Alanis and Maxim. Where Yvonne took off and started following Tomas, Varen's warder, earlier in the episode, and we don't see him for the rest of the.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I remember the other guy and he's looking at himself in
That was so
the
funny.
blade.
Through his sword. Yeah. That's so funny.
Vanity Smurf.
That's one of the greatest intros to a character.
Yeah.
But
And he's looking at his hairline. He's checking his hairline to see if there's any grays. He was like looking like right here. He's like, well, what's going on there? Is that a bald patch?
Because Alana's not aging, so he's like, dang it, I need to keep myself fit.
Right. I gotta keep it high and tight. So, what do you think is going on with old Yvonne?
that's a guy who followed the other guy.
Yeah. The other warder, Alana's warder.
I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't. There was a whole lot of other things going on, so I didn't necessarily
Okay.
get concerned that
Whose warder did you follow?
Varen's
Varen's, and he said, "I don't trust Varen.
Varen.
Should I go follow?"
the Brown, who I love her. She is listening to Moiraine without knowing what Maureen's plan is, right? So she got the Ogier map because they know that there's a way somewhere. She came and lied to the stern assistant to the regional manager.
She did not lie because Maureen said
She didn't lie, you're right.
Choose your words because she said things that
Yes.
were interpreted.
Yeah,
because
you're very right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But right, so all this and released him, and then was like, "All right, I've done all the things you wanted me to do. Now what are you gonna do?" Right? She had no idea what Maureen's plan was, but trusts her. And whether it's because and they know the prophecy of of whatever Falm that he over the sky,
Fire
the
rope or
Falm,
something.
the fire, yeah. So I like her a lot, but so and it's weird, right? Because Alana and her boys don't trust, like they're all helping Moiraine, but they're not trusting each other.
I thought they didn't trust Lorraine, the Red, because they said where is
They
she?
don't. They for sure don't trust her either.
And then to find out where she went and what was going on, that was pretty surprising.
That was very surprising to me. That was
Yeah.
Well,
I
Catherine,
did-
you did kind of predict that there was going to be some bad stuff going on with either Bartha's or Maureen's sister.
And then to hear what he sold his soul to be king, you realize. But what I'm wondering is Red walks in there, kicks Mom out. Mom goes to the speaker and listens. Cool thing.
because she's in the know and in the spy network and all of that. So she's.
Oh yeah, she
I imagine
she's
she
got her nose to the ground.
walked real slow, and as soon as she was out, and then she ran downstairs, put her ear to like the proverbial glass against the door at a motel.
She didn't even need the glass. She built it in.
Brain.
Her whole spy network.
But how do they all know each other? How did Red know that Bart boy was a dark friend?
Maybe he was at the table, right?
Was he?
Maybe. I figured we gotta go watch that episode. I don't know how. Maybe if there was right. So it's the sun. Well, but the sun is like the palace. But I don't know. We don't know all the people who are sitting at that table yet.
They have their covers on, so we don't know how.
But they showed a lot of symbols underneath, right? So we saw the ring. I mean, there was a lot that we saw kind of underneath.
Underneath, when they had the sun, was the guy that Patrick killed.
That wasn't the sun, though. That was another design from the
Yeah. Okay, that's how it kind
the
of looked like
our
a sun.
army. But yeah, so we could go back and look at it and see. But I just assume he was at that table, the dark friend.
I wonder how they knew each other. That's what I was wondering. How,
good question.
There's no tattoos or something. There's no,
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, the ice dial wear rings, so they know each other, even if they have never met. So they can go, oh, yeah, okay. But she knows, and she knows.
I mean, they knew each other, like you said, right? She walked in, she's like, we need to talk. And so she's basically like, yep, Master says, kill Moiraine, kill your mom if you need to. And he's like, all right. And he goes into some.
And he was going to.
Oh well, and they right like they so the mom obviously got to the palace guards early because she said she's being held captive in the palace, and she was being held captive in a whole other place. But where the guards took him, or where the guard took him, was some dungeon cell, which is obviously not where Moiraine was. But
I think this is a good time for Brother Dan to take the lead and apologize for his love for Barthana.
Oh, well, all right. I will make up of this. His hair really got me in the beginning. I was kind of captivated by him. I liked his sandwiches. I'm a sandwich guy myself. It's a love language of mine to make sandwiches for people.
What sandwich is your favorite?
I'm generally, I guess, a sandwich made on a bagel, Ryan.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah.
We talked about this before. Bagel sandwiches are the best, guys.
So you had hair
envy too. I liked him too. He brought out a side of Moiraine that we hadn't seen. This personality, and they seemed really playful together. So,
but he was willing to kill him.
He seemed simple, but not evil.
Right? Yeah. So, does it make you rethink? All right. So now that we know what we know, does it make you rethink anything Moiraine was doing?
No.
Okay.
She's playing chess in her head.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if you mean now that we know about Barthanes, or now that we know, I don't know what. Yeah.
I guess let me rephrase that question. Yeah. Do you think that Barthanes? Do you think that Moiraine knew about her nephew?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think she knows who all the dark friends are. So I don't know. I mean, she doesn't like Liandrin. I don't know if she knows that Liandrin. I remember now. But I don't know that she knows who they all are. So she's doing her best to protect Rand, but doesn't and knows she's protecting him from the Forsaken, but I don't know if she knows everyone else she has to protect.
But I like the way she's using Rand to get an in with the Forsaken, because I think she's trying to get the BDSM chick to go again Dracula. Nice.
Okay. Oh yeah. AKA Lanfear versus Isham.
Yeah, I think she's using and the only reason that she went to the dark side was because she lost old Rand.
The love of her life, yeah.
Right. So if Rand could play her along and keep her, I need you and this and that. And I don't think that the HBIC was going evil, because I don't think Lanfear would have kicked her booty. she didn't kill her, but I don't think she would have kicked her booty like that if she was a dark friend.
If she was a dark friend, yeah.
Yeah, I think she would have like, hey, come on, let's, this is what we're trying to do.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
And what I like too is you were saying, again, manipulation. So Rand is like, all right, here's how we're gonna escape here. Lanfear doesn't want me here. She's not gonna be happy if I'm being captive. They want me in Falm. So like, made the way. And she even said, she's like, ooh, I like when you try and manipulate me. And she fully let him. She's like, I like it. I'm gonna let you keep doing it.
And she's
like,
like,
I'm watching you, Chancellor.
Like what you used to be, like who you used to be. Yeah.
Yeah. She was digging it.
Well, let's speak about manipulation. We have Ishamael dealing with Matt, giving him a kind of a little hallucinogenic tea.
Yeah, so I have a question kind of before that.
Oh, those are shrooms.
He got he was right outside of Kyrene. He gets hit on the back of his head from somebody. We don't know who.
Oh my god, all right.
Wakes up.
Don't get me started.
So, and then wakes up in Falm. So this is back to, was it an hour? Like,
right.
Or can you travel through dreams? So I'm like, okay, is there a third Forsaken? Is there another Forsaken that hit him? Is it another dark friend that got him? And he was knocked out. Was he dragged to Falm, or did he somehow get there through dream travel? So I don't know how he got there, but
I was
legit in Falm. I think he's legit in Falm.
Yeah, I think it was the window, the
way gate,
like crack that opened up.
The way gate, yeah. Good point.
I think.
But who opened it? Who got him?
Well, she was there when he woke up.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, she's pretty powerful.
And a great pantsuit, by the way. Fantastic, like black cated pants.
Oh, and the boots to here
with the fur. Now, what I had a question about with Matt is Dracula gives him some shrooms. He drinks it.
He was whittling. By the way, he was whittling that like piece of wood that was going right into the pot. That's what that
was like nutmeg.
Yeah. It looked like cinnamon. Yeah. So he wakes up tripping and he sees his mother. What the hell is mother? And then in all of his previous lives, it's him. Now, if Rand was supposed to be the guy with the beard with the sun in his 3,000 years ago, he would look different in his previous lives. But all his lives, it was all him, hanging there, killing people and everything. It was all him.
Well, it all looked like him, but it doesn't necessarily mean in real life it looked like him. It just,
he was wearing the same outfit,
right?
Well, and it did start as different people that he morphed into. So someone was drowning someone, and suddenly it was Matt drowning.
And then it was him drowning. I couldn't. Yeah, that one was hard for me to see. I'm like, is he being drowned, and then he doing the drowning? I couldn't quite figure that one. But the hanging was him the whole time. Looked like him the whole time.
Little blue.
Yeah. It was the whole like him, his mom. It was, and what they kept saying, like him, you're like him,
just
like him.
So who him is, right? But the scene where then it was his mom and he was there, and then they screamed, and then it was him screaming and screaming. It was fantastic. I was fucking confused. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm like, this is bizarro.
Yes.
She had said in the very beginning when the dad was screwing around and getting drunk and doing all because mom was getting drunk. He was a player and treating everyone like crap. You're just like him. You're just like him, and he knew how bad his dad was. So when her saying you're just like him, that's what I'm thinking. Not like it could be you just like you were in your past lives, you're going to continue this. But I think that's in his mind or in my mind.
I think he heard that, but that was the continuing message. And that was obviously, like him was the words that were used continuously, and he's supposed to see all these himself through all these different past lives. And we heard Ishamael say, I've always had Matt. So
is he like cheek?
What?
Does he like cheek?
Yeah.
Okay, Brother Dan, I was waiting for that.
He likes
correct.
I laughed out loud when he woke up caressing his cheeks, with Dan is coming in like twice that he's so sensitive.
He caresses people all the time. Yes.
He says go to like a foreplay.
He's like,
it's been 3,000 years.
Yeah.
He's learned a lot.
Aren't going to go away on their own.
But to me, the like him is something. is something much deeper than that. Something like that he's, I don't know, some Forsaken reborn or some evil person, right? Because Ishamael said, I've always had him. He had no worries at all about Matt. He's bringing him in and he's like, I want you to see kind of all your past, get comfortable with it, so then you can actually sleep. So
now,
I think that was,
I don't know if that's what it was, or it was because when he touched the ruby dagger, it was so easy for him to go to the dark that he had it in him.
Yeah, yeah.
But what he was saying is, hey, what we're trying to do is stop. But the Forsaken, I thought they couldn't die.
Oh, I don't know.
How can he want to close his eyes and go to sleep if he can't die?
Well, right. So that was another interesting thing too. He's just exhausted. He's been alive like for forever, and he's just over it. And all he wants is to be done. So I'm thinking maybe that's what the last battle is. If they win, then he can just finally like not have to live.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done being the most interesting man in the world.
I'm done caressing faces.
I'm done with Dos Equis. So, but he was imprisoned. He could not be killed. So the others are coming back, like, 3,000 years later. They put out the light for them, but he can't be killed. So in the last battle, if they imprison him again, it's just gonna be another thing again.
Well, I don't know. I feel like the last battle is not going to be the same as last time. Is that it's the last, right? There's something much more important and final about it than just doing the same thing all over and
Is it
like
the last with the capital L?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capital L, capital B.
I don't think next week is going to be the last battle. I think it's going to be like if I want to say foreplay,
You can say foreplay.
a preliminary battle, like the first one.
Battle.
Do you think? Well, yeah, I have thoughts on that, but I had something else on Ishamael that now I'm trying to remember too.
And I got a question. When you think about Ishamael, I'm gonna think of Leo and the chicks finding Leo. Leo, oh my gosh, loves the queen or the princess, and Mohawk is all, don't encourage her. That was so funny. Like,
that was very
don't
funny.
feed the ego. Don't feed the ego. She's gonna go.
He's like, oh, please stop. Well, that and like Loyal. She's like, okay, yeah. Like she was kind of like finishing Loyal sentences for him too. Like, okay, I know, fine. Now let's go on. Let's get to the next thing. There were a couple times where I laughed at last episode. Matt saying, is this a sex thing or a murder thing? Either way, let's stop talking.
Do it.
That was pretty good.
But he did say that the Death Watch isn't letting anyone through but these people. Who's the Death Watch?
Ooh, good question.
I've never heard of the Death Watch before, I don't think. So I wrote that down. Death Watch, what? So I didn't know what the Death Watch was. It was something that I had missed, or it was something new.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think of it hearing Death Watch. I was just thinking of it as the Shan Chen army, they call things different things for a long time. So he might have, if he used that, I was just figuring it was the army that they've been dealing with. Those people with those freaky looking masks on, those soldiers.
Do the masks not look like when the guy had the deep throat with Uno with the deep throat?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I remember the other thing that Ishamael said. He said, I never write by myself. He said, humanity has forgotten so much since my time, but not all of it was technology. And he said that when he was making this tea, right? So that you could kind of see past the other things. But I just thought that was interesting, right? We've talked about this whole technology thing that 3,000 years ago, it was way more advanced than it is now. But I just really interesting, this statement.
Right, I just think it was the drugs, the use of drugs.
Well, this whatever this particular kind of drug is, that's what he was referring to, is like, everyone's forgotten about what this can do and the benefit of all that. So yeah, agreed. But just that reminder again that 3,000 years ago, like, we've forgotten a lot. Most of it was technology, not all.
Got a question. Got to keep asking. Do we want the wheel to continue? Would you want to be reincarnated so many times that you can look back at your life and see what a shitty person you were like 20 times in your past life. I mean, do we want and
according to Ishamael, he's over it, right?
Right. But if you're a shitty person once, you're a shitty person always, I guess, because of the dream, and that could have been the drugs. But I mean, when I'm done here, and I know there's certain religions, and I respect your opinions and so forth, but I'm the best I can be. I don't want to come back and be better. I personally, I'm with Ismail. Like, you know what? When I close my eyes, I'd like to go to sleep. No, what if I live to 70, I don't want to have to do this all over again, not knowing any of it. You know what I mean? And learn all of this and go through all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering about the wheel. Is it really something that we want to continue? Not that I don't want Rand to win and I don't want, Moiraine to be great and this and that, but I'm just talking about the wheel itself and the concept of the wheel.
No, I love it. Yeah.
Classic Dark Friend stuff.
Is it humane to stop it all?
And my big questions were who are the good ones and who are the evil ones, right? So even with the Domani and whatever, they're like, okay, the Empress, she wants to bring everything into the light. She wants like at face value from what they're saying, it sounds positive.
It sounds benevolent. Yeah.
Right. We want everyone to be brought into the light. They're doing this evil controlling thing with these women, but the Tower's doing this controlling thing with men. And then so I'm like, okay, everybody's doing something and everyone's claiming that their way is the right way, right? Ishamael, we heard from the very beginning saying people don't like what they don't understand. They think that I'm evil, or they think, I mean, even with the Trolloc, right, that is like really scary looking. So everyone has these different perspectives, and I'm like, okay, like I'm supposed to think that the Dark One is the bad one and that the Forsaken are bad, but everyone's manipulating, right? And everyone's telling the story from their perspective of what they think is right. So yeah, I think we want Rand to win, but I don't know who we want Rand to win for, right? So Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Who's he gonna?
Oh, he's gotta win with his homies. But
are his homies? But who are his homies? Good, bad, or?
Who are his homies?
I mean, they're all Mohawk, Egwene, Perrin, and I do believe Matt. I think Matt is
one of his homies. Yeah, they're all those. That's the 5 of them. So
yeah, I think the 5 of them are all, but I don't think that the end justifies the means. The way they're doing things, like
the which they,
both of them, both of the good people, like the Dick and Balls, the Tower, what they're doing, or the way, and if you look in both camps, even though they've got the hierarchy and everything, they both have evil in both their camps, and they don't know it. Like the Binky people have Dracula, and then the Ashantis will have and I still think there's another black.
There probably is, but the Binky people, right? The Shan-Chen they're made out to be to seem evil anyway, right? So they've captured Loyal, they've and just those soldiers with those masks, they look ominous, right? They look, you don't look at them and think, oh, you're gonna do good because you have this like cage over your face.
Yep.
Right? So the assumption is they are bad, but
so what do we think about the power dynamic between Egwene and her master?
She gonna kill her. Egwene is gonna kill her. She said it will not happen.
But will that kill Egwene?
I don't know. Well, and she's gonna find a way, and Nynaeve and Elaine are gonna help her find a way, right? So they've just collared somebody, so they now have the control of somebody else.
That was so good.
No, Schadenfreude.
Yeah,
that was so good. Yes.
She's all, yeah. Do you like my new bracelet? And she's like, what do you mean, clonk? Oh no.
Yeah. So one thing that was just kind of interesting about that dynamic too, and this is just is. So when they were out in the desert just to kind of show off test their powers or whatever. Perfect. Thank you.
How much dog hair is on that?
Is there any
It's
part?
melting.
I was going to say, is there any part of the lollipop left?
Just throw it in the
I only
freezer.
do it here. It's melting.
I'm throwing up in my mouth a little bit.
But when they did that, the Rena, I think is her name, she's like, I don't need you for this. And she did that, and Egwene, right, was like feeling it. But whatever this, like the bracelet has the control. It was pulling power that, and she's like, Egwene didn't even need to do anything. But then clearly she did, right? Like she allowed, I don't know,
It
weird.
Yeah,
looked like it was coming from her breast.
From where?
That whole
Where?
collar thing is all,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I've noticed in this episode, because I was trying to keep track of it, thinking that there was something behind the colors of the power. Yeah. Like when it was coming out and going into her thing, it was white, but when then she had it around her, it was gold. So I don't know if there's still colors to this that are important or not. I don't know why I'm paying attention to it, but
I also got the impression this time that they're not visible, that we're only seeing them for like kind of TV. I got the impression today that they're actually not visible because, right, Rand is like, what do you see when you see her? Or I'm sorry, Lan asked Logain, what do you see? And then he told Rand, look and do it. And then it appeared when Rand was looking at it, but I don't think it's visible. I think we're just seeing it for effect.
Well, I think because he looked through the eye, it made it visible. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it was there the whole time. We didn't see it the whole time. But until he looked with the power, then he saw the knot. Yeah, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I like
So
the
good.
lightsabers.
Thank you. I dropped one. Fell out of my pants. Okay.
Yeah. That's
So-
what
That's what she
they all say.
Okay,
Very
so
cool.
about the dreads and all.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll
nice.
be
Jeez, good call. There you go, Kate. Lady Catherine, well done.
Love it.
That was
I
lovely.
mistakenly lit this one up. I had lights on it. They had to beat her up for her to pay the toll for the other person getting stabbed while helping her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, what do you think? What do you think?
well, I always thought they were badass anyways, but I mean, and then they're all cool.
Right, yeah, he's parents all, that's it? Like, you guys are friends? She's like, yeah, we're done. That's all we needed to do. It's just kind of
She went from totally bloody to, okay.
bloody-ish.
I'm okay.
And then one of them might be interested in you, but the other one isn't.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the other one, oh, no, yeah. Not
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Don't take it personally. It's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mother Nature.
Yeah. So I like them, and it was really weird that they were in the middle of a desert, and then they're in the middle of next to an ocean.
Well, they were, and when they got to the water, so they said a couple things, right? Because I'm like, did they go like way far away? And then they said, we buried her here because it seems like home. And so then they were walking, and then they saw the water, and Perrin said, oh, found. So we had just seen Egwene, and we know she's in Falm, and she was out in this kind of big desert wasteland too. So whatever it is, Falm's clearly got a big desert right nearby. So
Like
I kind
San
of,
Bernardino.
They and I did notice when he looked at that you could see the ship.
ships,
So
out in the
you
water.
could see It was like a different angle than from Matt
Uh-huh.
when he looked out the window and saw the ships. It was from a
so it's
different
all the
angle.
same. It's all the same place. So they're
So-
But I noticed, so I like this kind of, I don't know, little ritual or whatever. It's like so she made a mistake, so she had to pay the price. I don't know how they decide, like, her toe was to get the shit beat out of her. And her toe to Perrin is that she just needs to now be with him kind of like forever. I don't remember exactly. She's like, you saved my life, so now I'm indebted to you forever.
I'm your water. I'm your water.
Yeah.
Like I'm your breath. I'm your.
Yeah.
Now there's only 3 of them. Are there more of them? Is this just the whole tribe? Or
No, they're not at their home, right? So they've talked about that a lot, that they're like far away from home. And Rand's mom was an Aiel, right?
Yeah. But
So
when she died was at the end of the war, the last battle.
that was the end of the war, right? Because they're like, great, the war's over.
Right.
So the war's over, the Aiel war's over, and then
she gets killed, right? after the war's
Right.
declared over.
Yeah. So here's something though that I kind of realized too, right? So we saw Rand's mom, pale skin, red hair. We see these other two, Aiel, pale skin, red hair, and Aviandra is reddish hair, not pale skin. So I imagine that she is Aiel, but also something else.
Ooh.
So-
Nice. Okay.
So I'm wondering who she is.
First off, I think she's stunning.
Mhm.
Second off, the daughter princess of Andor.
Elaine, right? Elaine looks
Yeah.
more Aiel than Aviandra does.
Yeah. Isn't Andor like a planet on Star Wars?
Endor. The
Endor,
Ewoks live
okay.
there.
Okay. All right. Because I'm like, a lot of these things are sounding
Yeah.
so familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but
I liked that a lot, and now they're all in found. And can we just talk about the badass women
Please.
in the
whole
show?
Yes.
In the show, and that is something that I've been realizing, and in this episode, I'm like, this is freaking awesome. They are just every powerful character
It's female.
is female. I mean, and there's, I mean, right. Okay. So Rand's the Dragon Reborn. Fine. He's probably pretty freaking powerful too. But right now it's the women that are like helping him, teaching him, controlling him, imprisoning him. And like, and it's not like the women are all good. There's evil women and whatever, but they're freaking just badass. They can do everything. I love it.
Formidable.
I think that Dracula isn't as powerful as Lanfear.
Doesn't seem that way, right?
No, I think she's even more powerful. So the most powerful.
I think they said that. I think they said that she is. He is just the lieutenant or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Lieutenant
he's like
Dan.
the favorite.
You ain't got no legs.
Like ping pong.
Oh, so I know I had mentioned, like, is there a third Forsaken, right? Or whatever, like who knocked Matt out in the room where he woke up, and they showed Ishamael making the tea. There are 3 big seals in that room
Yes.
behind him. So that I'm like, so is one of those represented each Forsaken? So is there another Forsaken out walking around that we just haven't met yet or haven't seen yet?
Wow.
Because I know a big seal was broken, but then when they were like, where in that Forsaken temple, it seems like there is either a statue or a seal or something representing each Forsaken. One of those had like the yin yang little Aes Sedai symbol on it. I didn't pay it to the others. I don't know. But there were 3 big huge seals in that room. Seemed like a big decor for a little.
I did not see that. I was tripping on the mirror too much. I like.
Yeah, it was on the other side of the room from the mirror. It was like kind of in a corner. There were these big 3 huge concrete. They didn't match. They did not.
All right. Editing. Yeah, let's get the editing team to put that in there. 5, 4, 3,
Production
2, 1,
style.
and go. And just.
Yeah, there it is. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Right
not
there.
see that before.
So, presumably, we're all going to be in Falm next episode, like everyone, right?
Yeah.
We'll be at Falm.
The only ones we don't know where Min is, but so we're not sure if she's going to be there. Right? Rand, Moiraine, and Lan are on their way.
Is Min
Amyrlin. Well,
The Amyrlin.
good question. The Amyrlin and Leandrin will still be in Kyrian.
And Varen and all the other Aes Sedai.
too.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question, and I don't know. So, right, the Amyrlin wanted to announce the dragon in Kyrene with 14 Aes Sedai, so that so that they know that we're in charge or something. Or I don't know if there's a significance to 14 Aes Sedai, but so she's like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna announce him here in Kyrene, and she pointed out, like, we're gonna do it here in Kyrene. Whereas the prophecy, or what is found, right? So so Ishamael has mentioned that, and Varen mentioned that, and Moiraine mentioned that. So again, the Amyrlin's just doing weird stuff. Like, she knows she's doing something that is against what is written.
But we've got this much of the prophecy. I don't know what the prophecy continues, and maybe she does not want the rest of the prophecy to come about. And if she changes it won't continue.
Then it won't.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and I want to remind you guys have been questioning where she has been at for the last like 3 or 4 episodes.
Seriously,
I
I thought she was a black. Ashanti.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, that was kind of what I was saying earlier too. Like she's been nowhere, and now she's coming back, and she's not going
And
with the
she's-
plan
yeah.
that she and Moiraine had from the beginning, and all of a sudden,
Did she not look a little like worked over? I mean,
One time, yeah.
Yeah.
in band camp. I mean, she was off a little. She was a little different. I don't know.
Hey,
Well, at
we've
the
all,
end,
we've
she
all
was all-
been there.
yeah. It was at the end. She was
Yeah,
like
that
laid out on the
hair.
ground.
Yeah,
Let
hey,
me ask Lady Catherine and G Mama, how many Aes Sedai do you think there are?
Can I ask you a question first?
Sure.
Who the hell's a bald one? What color is she? All of a sudden,
Yeah,
it's a
she's
bald
like
one, and I'm like,
purple. It's like a
is that
purple or
from
pink.
I thought that she may be one of the Binky people. I had no idea because when they were looking at her, like, oh, we don't want her around. I mean, I had no idea
Yeah.
where the bald one came from and what color
Bald
she.
one of the Lavender Sedai.
I feel
Alopecia
like
Sedai.
I was trying to remember if we saw her before, because I remember like
Mhm.
in the tower when we saw all the Aes Sedai like in the first season, and I feel like but she was like this purple pinkish color, weird color that I don't
She
know.
had one line.
But
Yeah, she-
also, they Lorandin or whatever.
Lorandin.
The red one was not wearing red. It was like purplish drag duster.
And
So
Like her
Alana
hair?
was wearing blue with like a green sort of scarf or green thing over it, but she was wearing blue and with green over it. So
the outfits are amazing, but the colors are just. I don't know if we're just supposed to go, oh, okay, or
well, but I wonder if that's something different in this episode, right? So we've seen Leandrin being shades of red and it's gotten darker or whatever, but I wonder if that's just something kind of for this
Yeah.
episode too,
Yeah.
where they're
showing how evil she is getting. So the amount of Aes Sedai,
Ashantes.
is we saw how many were in the tower, but then we saw they live all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'd say there's hundreds.
100.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. And they've been around for forever, and they don't really die, or they they live for over hundreds of years or whatever. So I think
Yeah.
there's I think there's
Quite a few.
quite a few, hundreds and hundreds
Okay.
of them. I would imagine.
Okay.
They become Fisher wise.
Well, then they retire. And
If you're strong enough to handle it.
Then you become my Fisher wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I that's what, answering your question. I think there's a lot more than we've seen.
yeah,
Because we just saw the ones that were in the dick and balls, and we haven't seen because so many have been traveling and doing stuff and
right.
retired and
Right. And then we saw the yellow one, right, that was in the city, and Falm who was who ended up she got collared. Oh, did you notice? I think when they were out in the desert and they were doing their little practicing, the one who seemed to be in charge, I think her Damani was the blue Aja girl.
Sitter.
Yeah, the sitter.
and did you? It kind of looked like a crater on the moon.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, that's how the craters on the moon got there.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe this all takes place on.
Well,
Yeah,
Egwene is not only a little bit stronger, she is significantly stronger.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, we almost felt that poof. And then when Egwene does it, it knocks them down. And
they
it's
fall in the
alluded
city.
to, it's alluded that Loyal hears it and is like, what was that?
He's like,
It
was
won't
that a huge fart?
Skiing. Whew. Now she's stronger, but then Mohawk is even stronger than her.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that's good. Now
The strongest
this
we've
is
seen in
the problem
1,000
I
years.
got, is that this is the second to the last episode, and it balls out amazing.
Oh, great. Yes.
But they could have, done more. I mean, look, the last one was slower. I just want to make wait.
You just said it was a little slower?
No, the last two before. I'm just afraid that there's only one more episode, and they're going to leave us. If this was the last episode and this was a cliffhanger, I'd be so pissed. I'm just
Right.
hoping that they end it in.
Yes. And if they
well, you
if
know
they
how
don't,
many-
we riot.
Hold on. You know how many seasons there are going to be, right? And how many books there are in the series? It's not ends next week.
I know, but they haven't signed them all. There's only
I
they've
know.
only
I think they signed
the third. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, she's got a point.
That's it. That's it.
So I figure,
What?
like good TV, right? We will have a big culmination. Something big will happen. I don't know if this stupid horn's ever going to come back to have any relevance at all. I don't. And to your point, I don't know if we'll see the final battle, because I feel like that might be a bit premature. We're getting set up to that, but I think that's premature. I do think that he'll be announced as the dragon, right? It seems like that's kind of a thing. And I think Egwene will get freed, maybe, or I don't know. But I also think it will end with a great. Now we gotta wait to see how that's gonna happen.
Like it did last time.
Where it's like, okay, yeah, great. You're not dead. He's not dead. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I hope it's not 2 years again, because we're going to be looking at Egwene when she's 40, going, "Damn, you're looking good, huh?" I'm so excited.
I looked through. I loved it.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, and formidable women as leads, as fantastic actresses, as characters, good and evil is. I am here for it.
Great. All right, so before we end, let's do our patented the way the leaf rate out of 5 leaves. How many leaves give episode 7?
4.75.
What?
From like a 2 to a 4.5.
What?
Wow.
This is the highest of. This is your favorite episode of all time?
It is.
It has to be. Yes. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 4.5.
Okay.
That was
excellent. 4.75. 4.5. That has been episode 7 of Wheel of Time's adaptation of that's a 4.5 and a 4.75 of Amazon's adaptation of Wheel of Time, episode 7, Dace Damar. Everyone, we'll see you next week as we wrap up the whole season 2.
You know what? There is one thing I'm gonna add in. Lanfear, when she was walking through town, that bitch was on fire.
So was everyone she saw.
That bitch is on fire!
Yeah. She left her calling card. There was no mistaking as to who was coming through.
She left her calling card. Amazing.
And she blew up the door, and she's like, I did this 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're back to this. Yeah, that was just great. Oh, I was so happy. I love the show. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Please like and subscribe to our channel if you're interested in any of this content. We will see you next week for episode 8, Amazon's Wheel of Time.
Bye.